All right, so Shannon has graciously agreed to ride along in the car from her nanas to her papa, so that we could so that we could pick her brain a little bit. And I wanted to give you guys this opportunity because every time I talk to her, I think that something's like never gonna work. I'm not gonna figure it out. And she has the answer. Like I feel bad putting her on the spot like that, but she does. Just because she's been doing this a lot longer than any of the rest of us. And she's been where we are, and now she's like, gone over the hump, if you will, and can kind of see where this type of business can take you. So that's why I think it would be super awesome and motivating for you guys to get to talk to her and kind of hear like her story or whatever. So, do you guys have any specific things in particular you want to ask her about, or do you want me to just kind of facilitate it? Because I had jotted like a few things down.
That's fine.
Is that cool?
We'll jump in.
Hey.
You can always type questions as we go, and I can't see them on my phone, but Ashley can just, yeah.
So I guess the first thing that I was gonna have her like kind of go over with you guys, like, do you mind giving them just like a quick synopsis of like your background and your story with all this, and like, because some of them were at Super Sunday and like kind of got to hear about it, but a lot of them weren't. And I just think it's really inspiring to hear, like, just because, I know you're awesome, but for a long time you didn't know you were awesome. And
right.
I think it's really beneficial to help other people by hearing kind of where we've come from,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so those of you who don't know me, I'm Shannon Hargrave. I am a 7-star elite diamond coach, and I started a little over 2 years ago. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's raining. Yeah. Okay. So I started a little over 2.5 years ago, and it definitely was a struggle in the beginning. I'm not even going to lie. So to take it back a little bit further, I was always super, super shy. I was quiet. I was nerdy. And so this isn't something that I would have ever imagined myself doing, like being in any spotlight or even speaking on this team call is something that I never honestly would have even done a year ago. So even like a year into my business, even a year and a half actually, I hardly spoke on any team calls. I was way too nervous to do it. So this is something that has just become something I do, within the past 6 months. So really, when I started, I was just feeling I had no energy. I've always been thin, but I've just never felt like I had no energy. I would walk up the stairs at my job and just be out of breath. So I finally was like, okay, I need to do something. I wasn't happy at my job. And hey, I just decided that I needed to do something. And so when I found out about the challenge groups, I ended up joining a challenge group. And just because of the fact that I could get a discount and invite friends to join me in the challenge group, I became a discount coach. I had no clue what I was getting myself into, but I just decided, okay, hey, I'm going to do this for myself anyways. And if I can post about it and get a few people to join me, then that's awesome, So I ended up joining a challenge group, and I had never felt better. Within a week and a half of doing it, I had more energy than I've had in a long time. So when I actually got a couple people to join me, and just seeing their progress along with mine, it was just totally inspiring to me. And I realized, like, this is something that I absolutely love doing. And I didn't know anything about health and fitness. I didn't eat healthy. I didn't work out. I would go to the gym every once in a while with my husband, or my boyfriend at the time, my husband now. I would go, but I never really knew what I was doing. So as I started coaching, I didn't act like I knew everything about it. My friends at the time, if you watch my video from last night that I did it with Erica and Nicole's team.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, thank you. So I lost my train of thought. So I didn't think about clean eating or working out. So when I shared about it, I just talked about, how I was feeling. I have no energy. I have no endurance. I walk up the stairs, like I said, out of breath. I was ready for a change. So joining the gym group, this is what it's all about. Does anyone want to join me? Let's see each other accountable. It's going to be fun. So the fact that I won't let you this thing, try this together. Honestly, it actually knows. I mean, that was what life was back then. You know, me and my friends, we went out drinking. So for me to just come out of nowhere and just say, hey, I'm a health and fitness coach, they would have laughed at me. Mm-hmm. So instead, I just be honest and real about that. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is how I'm feeling. And this is something I'm going to try and do and, you know, see what happens. Does somebody want to join me? So I got a couple people to join me. We started doing it together, and I would just share things as I went. So if I learned something awesome in the challenge group that I found valuable, I would share about that on my wall. So if I started to see any kind of results, you know, scale or non-scale, I mean, I wasn't really, like I said, I was thin, but I wanted to get toned off. I wanted to so any kind of results like that I was still aware of that. And that's really how I started building my following. I didn't have a lot of friends on Facebook. I had a couple hundred friends on Facebook probably, maybe like 500 or so. And then now I'm close to 5,000. And that's over a little over 2 years because I'm constantly adding people. So I'm never running out of people. So I didn't just run out of my warm market because I was constantly adding people from the day I started. So when I first started, the things that I focused on were posting consistently 3 to 5 times a day. I was always posting. So, you know, my posts obviously weren't awesome in the beginning. It's something that you get better at as you go. But I always tried to make my posts something that if somebody were scrolling through, it would make them want to stop and read it. You see it's lightning here.
That's crazy.
So you just really want to put thought into your posts. And it's not always easy. I don't feel like I'm a creative person, but I would post things, you know, I would write things down, like how I was feeling or whatever I was thinking, and then try and create a post about it. Or I would wake up in the morning and I would go through Pinterest and find a quote that I liked. And I would literally say, okay, I'm going to post this quote. And I would come up with whatever I was going to write based on that quote. So that quote would give me ideas on what to quickly write in the morning. And it would actually turn out good because I would start thinking about how my life is relating to this quote. And I would come up with something like valuable or motivational. Another thing I would do is look at top coaches. And I would follow their posts. And if I found one I liked, what I would do is create a private group for myself. And you have to add another person to a group to actually create a group. So I added my husband and myself, and I made it a secret group. And if I found a post that I liked, like from a top coach or a coach on my team, I would go to the picture, click on it, click share, and I would share that into my private group that I named Post Ideas. So I would share that in there. So then when I needed to make a post and I couldn't think of any ideas, I would go through those and I would use them as ideas and just reword them to make them my own, maybe find a different photo to go with it. But when you run out of ideas, all it takes is seeing something to get inspired to create your own. So, you know, I would literally take those, use the idea, and make it my own and post it. So that was one thing that really helped me with posting. And then I would also message every single person that liked my photos, no matter what the photo was. So I'm not going to continue to go over this too much more because this is a lot of the stuff that I talked about in that other video. So Ashley, if you could just like in that video so they can get more information.
I'll give it to them.
But that's really what I did to get started and to gain my following. It was just posting. And so then I reached Diamond. And once I reached Diamond, and the funny thing is, this is another thing I told in this video, in the video that she'll share with you. But I reached Diamond in August of 2013. Okay, so that was, you know, this year, it was last month, right? Shortly after that, I dropped Diamond. And I remember being super discouraged around that time. So I keep thinking about how this month and last month has been slow for even me, even Melanie. So I keep trying to think about that. Like, okay, this is when I lost rank in 2013 when I started, is around this time of the year. And this is when I was at the point where I was so discouraged that I almost wanted to put Beachbody on the back burner because I felt like I was working so hard. And then it was so exciting when I reached Diamond, but then just to lose it even though now that I look back, it's not that serious, but at the time, like, I remember I cried over it, you know, so it was super discouraging at the time, and I could have just quit, but I didn't. So you just have to think about that. And it was right around this time. And I remember just, you know, reading a lot of personal development and having pep talks with my mentors and, you know, just pushing through and talking about any struggles that I was going through. So instead of stopping posting because I was discouraged, I continued to post. And I talked about anytime I got discouraged, you know, you just have to talk about everything. And, you know, thank goodness I stuck with it. That could have been the make or break it time for me. I could have just given up. So you have to remember that when you're struggling, you know. A room.
Where's Joe?
Chad goes, where's Joe?
Joe.
He's right here, but you can't see him because
But he won't let her turn the light on because he's
Hi.
trying to not.
Are you driving?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can't turn the light on because then you're blind.
They're so mysterious.
Woo, woo.
Right.
So I just, to tell you guys a little bit more on my story about, so I reached Diamond. Can you still hear me okay? Because it's like really pouring here.
Yeah, I can hear the rain, but we can hear you, I think.
So I reached Diamond after 2 months of coaching. And
That's so
you have to remember, everybody's situation is totally different. You know, I don't have kids. And I was working full time, but I don't have kids or anything, you know? So I really like dug in 100%. Like I literally was working my butt off because I needed to make this work and I wanted to make it work while I don't have kids. Like my whole point is I want to be a stay-at-home mom. That was why, you know, what was my driving force when I realized that this could actually, you know, be something that I do. So I really went full force. Like once I realized like how much I love the challenge group and everything like that. So I turned Diamond after 2 months, and like I said, I lost it after that. Well, 4 months in, Melanie asked me to speak on one of the Dream Team calls. She's like, you are rocking Success Club, you know, you turned Diamond really fast. Will you speak on a team call? And I totally turned it down. I was like, there is absolutely no way. I will freeze up. I will throw up. I can't do it. So I turned it down. Well, shortly after that, she had a Diamond retreat. So the same thing that they're on right now. If you've seen her Facebook, they're on a Diamond retreat, which I was to go on because you have to be 5-star and below, but unless you were hosting it. But she had her first Diamond retreat, and I was invited, and I was the only one of her Diamonds that didn't go. And there was people from corporate there, and it would have been an amazing experience. But I was just so nervous to spend a weekend with a bunch of girls that I didn't know. I just couldn't do it. So I turned that down, and I still regret it to this day, but it's part of my story, and, you know. And so, what was the other thing? Oh, so then at her Super Saturday, a bunch of us took a road trip, about 30 of us on our team, took a road trip to go to her Super Saturday one time.
Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. We went to Pittsburgh. It was actually in January, and she asked me to be one of the speakers once again. So this was just January. This is this year. Once again, I could not do it. I turned it down. And, you know, it's really hard for me to do that because you know, it makes you I felt kind of like a failure, you know, like I am failing as a leader, but I just knew I couldn't do it. I was so afraid that I would step up there and just have a panic attack. That's how nervous I get to do stuff like this. So I didn't do it. And she asked me if I would at least speak on the question and answer panel. So I said, okay, I will do that. Well, so I did the question and answer panel after all the presentations were done, and I got asked a question. And I talked, and it was like the scariest time of my life, talking in front of however many hundreds of people were there, but I did it. And I'm telling you, like afterwards, I felt like I just did an hour-long speech. Like I felt so awesome. Like I was so proud of myself for saying, you know, those 5 sentences. It was like the best thing I've ever done. And cool, because I actually had a couple people come up to me afterwards telling me I inspired them. I'm like, seriously, me? You know what I mean? So it was just such an awesome feeling that after that, Melanie actually asked me to speak at her event at Summit.
Dude,
But
you
it was
guys,
over
this is such a big deal.
Yeah, it was insane.
There were
thousands.
1,500 people there.
So that was like one of the scariest times of my life. I'm not gonna lie, and I had a stack of
freaking nailed it.
I know, Chris, we're so big.
We were
I didn't
like,
even care.
dude, we were standing up and like screaming for her because we were so excited. She was the first one, you guys, with like all of these crazy, amazing coaches. And she goes up there in front of so many people. And like literally I could tell that she was just trying to not either throw up on the microphone or poop her really cute dress. Like I was just like, dude, you can do this. Like when we got to Nashville, I was like, do you want me to just give you some Xanax? Like I'll just put it in your cup. Like, because she was freaking out, you guys. But this is a huge deal. And I'm so glad that she told you about it because A, we're all super proud of her, which we still are. B, she added so much value. And probably everybody there got something out of it because she was so honest and so real about this is really freaking scary. And on top of that, I'm sure, dude, you probably got so much out of it because, like, you didn't fall. Like I said, you didn't puke. You didn't pee your pants. It went really well. And you spoke English the whole time. You didn't freeze up.
I love you.
Dude, you had a microphone. That's so scary.
It was super scary, but you know what? I figured I'm going to bring out an entire stack of note cards with every word on it because I would rather be scared than freeze up and not know what to say. I was so nervous that that's what was going to happen. So I said, I don't care. I don't care how stupid I look. I'm going to have my stack of note cards. And you know what? I did. I felt so amazing that I did that. Like, it was something that I never in my life would have thought I could accomplish. So it was, like, honestly, that was, like, one of the best things that coaching has ever done for me because I feel like I could do it again now. It was my biggest fear, like, in the entire world, and I feel like I've overcame it.
Right, and
So,
it's like you don't doubt yourself now. Like, you know, like, you've conquered the freaking, you know, big thing, and it's such a huge confidence booster. It's so awesome. You guys, like, I was, like, not just me. We were all so freaking proud of her, and we all wore matching outfits, like shirts, because we're gay like that. But seriously,
you guys were amazing.
It was so awesome. And then she forgot to mention, by the way, the next night, because she's an elite coach, which is what she in the top 1 or 2% of the company.
Yeah.
She got to walk across the stage at this giant football field in front of there were 30,000 of us there.
Yeah.
And she had to do a choreographed dance. And hers did not pass out, and she did not fall off the stage. So, like, it just goes to show you guys, like, none of us are, like, bred for this. Nobody woke up and said, I'm going to build a business on social media, and I'm going to be so successful, and everyone is going to love me, and I'm going to make so much money, and I'm going to sound like Dracula. But still, like, you can do this, you guys. Like, I love Shannon to pieces. Like, we don't even remember the 18 times we probably met because we met each other at the bar like a million times. And we were both trying to, like, hide our insecurities behind alcohol.
So true. Yep.
That's really what I was doing.
That's what my friends were. It was all friends from the bar. And all we did. And it's funny because when I tell a lot of them, when they hear, like, or see my story on Facebook about how I'm super shy, if you knew me in high school or anything like that, you would know that it's true. I was super shy, like, so nervous. I would never get up in front of class, not even go to the bathroom half the time because I didn't like walking in front of people. And so my friends from, like, college, it's almost hard for them to believe, but that's because when I was under the influence, I wasn't quite so quiet. So now it's amazing to have such an awesome group of people that I can be real around. I don't know, everything about coaching has completely changed my life, and it's not even about like just the success and the income and all that. It's just I've never felt in my life like I had a purpose in anything. I've never felt like I fit in, ever. So I finally feel, wow, I am good at something. I never knew I would be able to inspire anybody. So it's just nice to feel like I have a purpose, I fit in, you know, this is where I belong, and I have made some of my best friends that I never would have even met if it weren't for becoming a Beachbody coach.
Legit.
I mean, everything about it is just like, yeah. And I started exactly where all of you are. And, you know, when I started, I worked my butt off. I made a ton of sacrifices. You know, I barely got any sleep. I would literally stay up. I would, like, go to bed with Joe so we wouldn't get upset and just, like, cuddle for a minute. Get back to work, honestly. And then I would wake up early and do it again. So I did. I mean, and everybody is going to have a different story and a different life and, you know, move at a different pace. But I was just really trying to get things going as soon as possible, you know, while we are living in an apartment and don't have kids and stuff. So it's all about making those sacrifices. And when I ended up quitting my job, I quit my full-time job to do this just because it was feasible for us to do, you know, only having our apartment and ourselves to worry about. When I did that, I wasn't making the income I needed to do that. You know, I definitely cut my income in half, and I was working more hours than I did at my job and making less. So it would have been so easy for me just to say, you know what, why am I doing this? But I knew the possibilities. I've seen people who started exactly where I was that made it happen. They were successful. So I knew if they can do it, I could do it. And I just had that mindset, which is weird that I had, because I've never really been successful in things. I never have had confidence. I think the reason I did is because I was at such a breaking point in my life. I literally just felt like I was at rock bottom. Like, well, I have nothing going for me right now. You know, it was like every day, wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, and that was it. That was my life. I was not happy. You know, I didn't even work out because by the time I got home, I didn't want to work out. I wanted to sit on the couch and hang out and eat dinner. So I guess that belief in myself came from the fact that I didn't have anything else. You know, like it's either this or nothing. You know, like I need to make a change. I was just so determined, like I can't keep doing this every day and being unhappy. So just know I started exactly where you guys are. I've had those struggles. I have totally been there, and I never in a million years would have believed that I would be successful like this. It was like beyond my belief that this would ever happen. Like looking at Melanie, you know, I asked her questions. Where were you when you were where I'm at now? Like when you were this far in your business, what was it like for you? And she had told me, you are exactly where I was. And so even though I couldn't fathom being where she is, the fact that I was on track to being exactly where she was, it just gave me that little bit of belief. Mm-hmm. And again, I had never read personal development books in my life until I became a coach. And I never knew how much how much I would get out of them. And even to this day, like when I read personal development books, sometimes I will put it at the bottom of my to-do list if I get too busy. And then when I actually do go and read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like rejuvenating. Why do I not do this like every single day? You know, it's always that reminder. Like I feel so much better when I read personal development.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. See, told you. She's weird just like the rest of us. Yeah. But no, it's fine. But and Joe hates me just like my husband hates me. It's fine. So the other thing I was thinking, dude, anyways, I wrote notes. You guys, I've heard her say this like 12 times and I get something new every time. But the other thing I was actually I think about half of the chicks on this call at least are Emerald or are reasonably close to it. And so their next big step obviously is getting to Diamond to like have that basis to work from. And I think a huge component of that is learning how to like talk to people about coaching. And I don't know if that's something that they're very comfortable with yet. So I just, and you know, considering your background and everything that you've, you know, been through and how your personality meshed with all of this, like what did you do to kind of like force yourself out there to like talk about coaching to people?
Okay, so that was really scary at first because I'd never felt, it took me a long time to actually feel like a coach. So it was pretty easy for me to invite to challenge groups, but not as easy to invite to coaching. So that's always the hardest for all of us. But what I would do is I joined Melanie's coach training program, just like all of you guys have pinned to the top of our page. And one of the assignments was to talk about coaching, you know, to invite somebody. At the time, we didn't do 5-day coach sneak peeks. We just did like coach training groups. So I had to invite somebody to my coach training group. And so instead of saying, I'm a coach who wants me to train them, because that to me, I would feel like a liar because I didn't feel like a coach. How am I going to train somebody? You know what I mean? So instead I said, my coach is allowing me to invite to invite 2 to 3 people to her exclusive coach training program. Does anybody want to join me, or something like that? But I used those specific words. My coach is allowing me to invite 2 to 3 people to her exclusive coach training program. So that's how I began, that's how I made the invite for it. But I would talk about it pretty much daily in my posts, just because it was changing my life so much. It wasn't just the challenge group, because honestly, I joined the challenge group and I stuck to that program 100%. I did Chalene Extreme for 90 days, and I was never so motivated in my life. I'm not even kidding. I was like, if I missed a day, I was like, oh my God, I have to do my workout. You know, so I would make it up on the next day, but I was so motivated. But honestly, after it, I think I probably, within a couple more months, would have easily fallen off track. I think it was coaching that has, you know, held me accountable, knowing that people are relying on me and they're watching me and I have to post. You know, I didn't want to give up on anybody or let anybody down. So that definitely held me accountable. So that was something I would talk about in my posts. So it's little things like this. Like I would talk about how coaching helps hold me accountable. And my coach friends, you know, are holding me accountable. And, you know, we are texting each other to make sure they got their workouts in and stuff like that. I would talk about the new friends that I was making. And, you know, if I would get together with them for lunch or do a Zoom call like this, I probably would screenshot and say, oh, look, I'm hanging out with my friends. You know what I mean? And talk about that. Talk about, you know, like-minded, uplifting people. So, because that's something that somebody might want in their life right now. So, like, somebody might feel like they're alone. When you're at our age, it's hard to make friends, right? So that might be something that attracts somebody, is the friendships that we have. So I talked about friendships. I talked about financials. And even though I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, I talked about the things that it was helping me with. So it was helping me with my bills. Even if it wasn't a lot, it was still going towards my payments, right? So I would talk about how Beachbody coaching helped me pay my bills, or helped me pay my gas or my groceries this week. You know, so even little things like that. I would talk about the prizes that I would win when I reached Success Club, and how, you know, my last job never gave me any gifts for my hard work. So I would talk about the prizes I would get, the gifts I would get, any benefits like that. I would just talk about it every day. And it wasn't always like, join my team, but it was just sharing, just like I did in the challenge group. I would share my progress and share stuff I learned. I would do the same with coaching. So I would talk about the traveling opportunities and, you know, post pictures of my office or myself working in my pajamas. I would talk about Summit coming up and how we can earn a free trip to Summit, and post awesome pictures of Nashville and Coach Summit, you know.
And Ashley losing her voice for 4 days.
Yeah.
That's a lovely photo.
So really, I would just talk about all the different benefits. So it doesn't all have to be coaching ads and talking about, you know, join my team. But if you're talking about it in your everyday posts about relating stuff to coaching and how coaching has helped you, it's going to, over time, get people to realize that this is an awesome job, you know. And so then when you do throw an invite out there to join our coach sneak peek, they're going to have seen all your previous posts talking about all the different benefits of coaching. So they're going to want to see what it's all about then. So yeah, just start talking about it in your daily posts. And then when you throw that invite out there, that's when you kind of reel people in.
That was the only other thing I was going to ask you about, by the way, was inviting, because I know that's something that we all struggle with, like, across the board. It doesn't matter what your personality is, myself included. It's so freaking scary to send a message to somebody, to put yourself out there and run the risk of them telling you no, or whatever the case may be. Like, dude, you guys, worst case scenario, they block you on Facebook. Oh my
Yeah.
effing G. There are 7 billion people in the world. Too bad. And honestly, it's probably happened to me like 2 or 3 times since I started doing this, which was like 8 months ago. I don't even know. And at first, I was really worried about that, and now I literally don't give a flying you-know-what. Since we're recording, I won't talk normally. But I don't care, because then that just means that's not them, and that this isn't the right time. So, like, I don't know. The only other thing I wanted to have her talk to you about before we let her finish driving or going to her dad's or whatever was just about, like, inviting and how the consistency plays into that, or how it did for you, because so many of us are like, I'm really freaking scared to even hit send. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was too in the beginning. Trust me, I was super nervous to do that. I feel like I'm in the weirdest, most
Did Joe just
unflattering.
leave you in the car?
He went into the store because actually, Nicole Wildeman and Ryan Wildeman?
Yeah.
They're coming over. They're at a wedding in Kalamazoo right now, so they're coming to my dad's. Well, Ryan just got a promotion on his job, so we're gonna get stuff for when they come over. But
I want to talk to them about too. Oh.
We can call you when they get over. So I was super nervous to start inviting. Obviously, because like I said, I'm like super shy and stuff. So it's so much easier on a computer, though. But the way that I try to think about it is, first of all, my why. Like, you guys all should have your whys, and if you haven't done it already, I encourage you to make a video and post it in your. Okay, perfect. Because if you keep your why in mind, it's like that driving force. Like, I don't care what people think of me, and so that's what I thought. Like, this is more important to me. My future and my life is more important to me than anybody who's going to judge me. So that's kind of how I looked at it. And then I thought about myself. Okay, if I didn't know Ashley, and Ashley added me as a friend on Facebook, I might be like, who is this? Why is she adding me? Because we're not in the business. If I'm not in the business yet, I'd be thinking, who is this? Because I had my stuff like major privacy mode, and I didn't add people if I didn't know them.
Yeah.
So if I looked at her page and realized I didn't know her, and I didn't know anything about her by looking at her page, I probably would deny her. But if I looked at her page and saw that, it's clear that she's, into health and fitness, and she's a motivational person, and she's inspiring and has something of value to add to my life, I'm more than likely going to add her. Why the heck not? She looks like an awesome, inspiring, happy person. I'm going to add her. And so then if she sent me a message, am I going to think, who is this weird girl? Why is she messaging me? We're not, most of us aren't rude like that. We're probably not going to be like, why is this girl messaging me? But for some reason in our head, we get afraid that people are going to judge us and be like, why would she be sending me a message? But I know personally, if she had sent me a nice message, I would be like, oh my gosh, she's so nice. I love her. Let's be best friends. And that's kind of what you think. So why are we so afraid that other people are going to think differently, So as long as your page is clearly like positive and motivational and adding value to people's life, and you're sending them a nice message, don't be afraid. Don't worry. Because if you don't send that invite, think of the people that you could be missing out on meeting. Like if Ashley and I, or, whoever else, if you guys hadn't contacted each other somehow, some way, you would never be on this team. You would never know what she was doing. You never would be friends. So just think about all those people that, you could be missing out on having as a friend or having on your team by being afraid to invite them. If they are like rude to you for messaging them, then you really don't even want them in your life. That's kind of how I look at it.
That's perfect.
So I really think when you do your whys, which Ashley will go over, that's huge.
Yeah, it's like if they're gonna be salty, like who cares? It's like obviously you've got your own problems, so you can just go ahead and deal with them.
Yeah, I don't need negative people like that in my life. And if it's a friend that's being weird about you posting, you can block people from your newsfeed without blocking them as a friend. You can hide people's stuff from your newsfeed. So just say, hey, I'm sorry if you don't like my positive posts. You can go ahead and hide my stuff on Facebook so I'm not in your feed.
Right. And you can set custom settings to you guys on your posts on Facebook. They can be public, they can be friends, they can be friends of friends, or you can literally customize them and say, everyone can see my posts except A, B, and C. which may seem like a bad thing, but if somebody is still friends with you on Facebook and they've been giving you crap about it, then just do it so that you don't have to deal with it anymore. Or like in my case, people that I work with at my full-time job, not that they talk bad about it or anything, they don't, but I just don't want to blur the lines for them at all, like thinking I'm posting about wanting to stay home with my kids so I don't want my job anymore, because right now I still need my job. So I have to be mindful of those things as well. Yeah. And that's all there is to it, though. And she's totally right. Like, if somebody is annoyed by you or somehow offended by the fact that you're improving your life and you're happier and you, like, have more self-confidence and you love yourself more, then there probably really isn't a space in your life right now for that person. And honestly, that they may change at some point, and that doesn't mean that you're better than them or anything. It just means you're at different places. That's really all it comes down to. And it took me so long to figure that out. It's so hard to not be hurt by that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's so hard to not take it personally. And I know Ashley's listening to my GoPro audiobook in the car right now. And dude, is your head just like doing the exploding thing like that commercial? Yeah, she's like, it's so it. Because I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, I never even thought about it this way before. And Kara's the one who said you gave it to her, so I got it. And I listened to the whole thing. And I literally, just like Ashley said on Facebook today, I would sit in my car longer than I needed to so I could listen to the end of what he was saying. Because it just makes sense. It's an industry. This is still a business. Yes, it's an industry. It's a real thing, you guys. Like, we all work 9-to-5 jobs, if not more in some cases, and those are industries as well. But it's just really hard for people to understand that you can do something like this, not have to invest a ton of money up front, and then make it into what you want, because it's so freaking scary. And you live or die by your own success, which sounds terrible to say, but you are the differential. It's not up to me. It's not up to Shannon whether or not I succeed. It's not up to me if you guys succeed. If you want to, you will. And that's really all it comes down to it. If you're like, I've developed such thicker skin from this, you guys. Like, it sounds so sad, but like, I've talked to Shannon about this before. I was like, dude, certain things have happened and I've like cried about them in the privacy of my own home because I care very deeply. I don't want people to dislike me. I don't want to let anyone down ever. And so when I felt that way, it shook me and made me question everything that I was doing. And, but as a result of that, you guys, like, I've bounced back that much stronger. Like, you all know me the way you know me. And I try to be like as legit with everybody as possible because there's no point in being fake. But at the same time, we all do care what people think about us. And it's really hard for me, you guys. It's really hard. The biggest thing for me right now is, like, if somebody asks me, what is this Beachbody stuff you're doing? I literally am, like, trying to not swallow my tongue to know what to say. You know what I mean? And I hope that you guys, like, are getting the gist and getting the vibe that we're all the same. And the good thing about that is we're the, like, 1, maybe 2% of people who get it. And I say that from the perspective of, I've met Melanie, I've talked to her, I've hung out with her more than once. Obviously, I've met Shannon a bajillion times and then met her again, where I would consider us pretty good friends now, because, I mean, I make fun of her, she makes fun of me, it's a nice time. And, that being said, like, and they are where we were, but accelerated a year, 2, maybe 3 years, you guys, and their entire lives have changed. And it's not just the financial aspect, but their whole lives have changed. You guys, Joe just turned 30, and he's retired. Right? And it's literally because she didn't give up. And we all know that this stuff works. Like, we don't need to go around. I'm sure, did you guys see that video, by the way, that's going around of the people who tested the wraps from It Works? Have you seen it? Shannon, have you seen it?
No, but is that what somebody posted on our team page?
Yes.
Okay, I did.
It was a bunch of correspondence for, like, not BuzzFeed, but another website like that. And they were all like, what the hell? And, like, literally they talked to a doctor and stuff, and they were like, basically, you lose weight from those because you sweat.
It's water weight. That's what it is.
So, and don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. But nonetheless, you guys, like, we know this stuff works. We've seen it in ourselves. We've seen it in other people. And it's not because it's rocket science. And if somebody ever says, well, everybody knows you need to work out and eat healthy to lose weight. Yeah. Then why isn't everybody doing it?
No, let me.
Drives me crazy.
Because when you think about how scary it is to talk about coaching, I still, to this day, it's like weird to talk about in person to me. Like to explain, it's hard to explain it. You know what I mean?
But I
So
talk
what I
to,
do-
like, how many of you guys? Ashley's from Fit Club. Amy's from Fit Club. Sarah, I knew outside of it, but that's how we started talking about it. And literally, that was the scariest, literally one of the scariest moments of my life. And I'm like, okay, they could totally reject me. They could totally hate me because I knew them face to face at that point. And I was like, I see something in you. If this is something you're interested in, I've got your back. But if you don't, that's fine. And now here they are, and they're all freaking rocking it.
Yeah, you have an awesome team. And you know
They're
what?
my life.
If you're afraid
So
to talk to somebody,
they bailed me out.
if you're afraid to talk about coaching, talk about your experience with it. Just talk about how much fun it is, how much you love it, and some of the benefits that you're getting out of it, just like the friends and the accountability and stuff like that. And then let them know that you'll send them more information online.
Mm-hmm.
That's always easy. You know, talk about just the positives and then be like, I can definitely send you more information online. That kind of takes the pressure off a little bit too.
Yep.
So try that. And then I wanted to also add in, because you're talking about like getting tough skin and, you know, not wanting to let people down and caring what people think. Yeah, we all do feel like that, you know. So it was hard for me in the beginning when I would have challengers that, I have to turn the light off again, sorry. I would have challengers that would maybe like completely ignore me after they were in my challenge group and stuff. And so it was really hard for me. I would be like, what did I do wrong? Like, did I ever say something to offend them? Oh, okay. Did I say something to offend them? Like, was I not there for them enough? You know, I would really get upset about it because I am a sensitive person. And so I had to learn that it's not me. I am doing everything I can as a coach to be there for them. And I'm doing everything I can. And you know what? People would come around later that were ignoring me and tell me like, I fell off track or this happened in my life, something personal. And it wasn't me all along. All this time that I was like afraid, like I did something wrong, it turns out it wasn't even me. It was something going on in their life. And they were just too afraid to admit it or didn't want to talk about it. So
Or
keep
they
that
didn't
in
want to
mind.
feel like they were letting you down. That's happened to me too, where they're like, I didn't want you to think that I didn't care anymore. And it's like, I wouldn't think that. Like, what the F? Like, we all have stuff going on.
You told me this whole time. I thought that you were like, you hated me.
Exactly.
You know?
I was sitting here like judging myself. But
Yeah.
that's really good advice. So you guys, it's 10 to 10. She's probably almost where she needs to be. Do you guys have any questions? Let me unmute everybody. And burping was probably not what I should have done. But I tried to do it clearly. Do you guys, so you're all unmuted, do you have questions that you want to ask her before we get off the phone? Or the computer, whatever the heck this is. Jessica's clearing her throat.
Sorry.
She's got some gas. She just gotta let it out.
You know.
What do you guys think? Ash, Nicole, do you guys have anything? Amy?
I guess like know what my biggest problem is inviting people.
Yes, it is.
So
I'm going to literally hold her in a corner and make her do it.
So when you invite people, like I'm nervous about inviting people I don't, I guess, know per se, if that makes sense.
And Amy and I just had a conversation about this tonight, if that's of any assistance.
Well, what do? I mean, I've read through some of the stuff that says, you know, like to just start the conversation by like talking about something that you've seen on their page or whatever. But I feel like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't care, right? But what do I do?
Yeah, Shannon, you tell her. I'm going to go pee.
So, like I said, I would message everybody who liked or commented on my picture. So that was kind of the way that I tracked who I invited.
Okay.
So I started running out of people who were liking my stuff and I didn't have enough people to message and invite. I would just go through my friends list and start messaging people. But what I would do is back then I didn't even like do the whole here's something on your page that I can talk about. I literally just said, hey, I saw that we had some mutual friends in common, so I wanted to send you a friend request. I actually run these health and fitness groups. I don't know if this is something that you might be interested in learning more about, or if you have anybody that you know that might be interested, I would love to tell you more about it. That's literally how I went about it. So I don't know if that's the right way, or, you know, or if it's better to start conversation as far as something you find on their page. Those are two different ways that you can do it, but that's literally what I did. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Just like when you do like the Go for No challenge, sometimes you're going to get people that say no, sometimes you're going to get people that say yes. But I literally would have, it was right to the point, but at the same time, if they said, yeah, I'd love to hear more information about it, that's when we would go in to talk about, you know, what are your goals? And that's when I would talk about them, getting to know them and forming that relationship. But if I didn't know, I don't really have a whole lot to say. So, you know, I'm just letting them know this is what I do. I'm a health and fitness coach. If you want some motivation, I would love to tell you more about what I do. You know, and either they'll answer me or they won't. But if they don't respond, or if they say not right now, you know what? They're going to start seeing me in their newsfeed every day. They're going to start seeing my posts and my invites, and more than likely they'll probably end up coming around. You know? So
But she's right, you guys. If Facebook like sees that you message somebody and they message you back, or even if they don't, they're going to start showing up in your newsfeed, and you will start showing up in theirs. Like,
so
it's
I'll
just
give you
how it works.
I'll give you an example. So my page is public. Well, one of my friends had liked one of my photos or commented on it or something. Well, another coach on our team, Kara Maxey, actually had a mutual friend. Both of us are friends with this girl. So on her newsfeed, she saw that our friend had commented on something that I posted. She didn't know who I was, but she looked at whatever it was. You know, maybe it was a quote or something, you know, that caught her eye. So she looked at me at my page, and she ended up adding me. Well, I didn't message her right away, but she had liked one of my photos. So I sent her that message. I said, hey, I'm a health and fitness coach. I saw that you liked my photo, yada, yada. This is in the inviting script. So you can actually go for that and look at what, to this day, you know, that's what I still say. So I said that to her, and she said, I actually just had a baby, so, you know, I need to wait a little while, but it definitely sounds like something I'd be interested in hearing more about later. Well, I followed up with her later, and she said that she was actually going to try something else that had worked for her before. So she didn't end up joining. Well, exactly a year later, she ended up coming back around. It took an entire year. So I could have got discouraged and added her onto my list of no's and said, all I'm getting is no's, I'm done doing this, you know? But instead, I stuck with it, and she ended up coming around. And she said that she had been asked by another Beachbody coach to join their team. And she said that she was really interested in doing it, but she remembered me reaching out to her first. So she felt like, you know, when I reached out to her and she kept seeing my motivational posts, she felt like she should join me. She ended up joining me when it could have easily went the other way around, because the other girl asked her to coach. So that just goes to show, you know, that message obviously worked for her, because she started watching my posts and ended up joining, and she's a diamond coach on the team now, you know. So
Yeah, she and I are like at the same exact same spot.
Yep, both working full time and both diamonds.
And we both have really nice perky boobs despite having kids. Amy's laughing because she knows we're always like, grr. And then we're in a sports bra. Shannon and I feel so bad for them, because like Amy and Ashley and Sarah and stuff, dude, like our first or second week of Fit Club, not this one, but the one we did in the summer when I met them, I legit wore these pants that were so old, and I forgot they were really old, and they had a hole in the ass or butt. Oops, we're recording. It's okay. And so I was in the front because it's Fit Club, so we're all working out together, and literally we're like doing ridiculous things, and I was like, oh my God, I realized it as we were doing it, and I'd only known you guys for like, 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, and Ashley has literally been looking at my butt for 10, 15 minutes.
That's
and
why
so after that, it was nothing but love.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in between that and the fact that Amy, what was it? We were doing like legit. Ashley was like, "Oh, let's do Drench from Pio because she's crazy," and so that's what we did on Monday at our first week of Fit Club. That poor new girl who was probably like, "These bitches be crazy," but dude, we were doing it, and how many times do you give us burp? Like it, and I did at least 4 times. And it's just so awesome because it's just us. Like, we don't have to fake it. I don't have to fake it. And I love them for it. And I've known Jess for years and years and years. And she's so hardcore. And we get along so well. Sarah and I have mutual friends. We've known each other for a while. And literally, Nicole is like my gift from God. She just like showed up in my life and is awesome. So I don't know, like, even I don't care. Like, I could literally go on, you guys, the rest of my life with just all of you and feel amazing and be so happy because this opportunity has brought you all into my life in this capacity. So, you know, well, and Shannon too, but you know, she's ridiculous. She's such a pain. You guys, she just won't stop stalking me. She wants to hang out like all the time.
You're so sexy.
JK. And I need to drive down and train your freaking dogs, dude. She's got these 2 little chihuahuas that try to eat every human except for her, Joe, and Joe's parents.
Yeah.
They're so naughty, dude. They're so cute, but they're so naughty. I need to go Cesar Millan them. But do you guys have any more questions? It's almost 10, and I don't want to take up any more of anyone else's time.
Yeah, I'm about to pee my pants, and we're.
Oh, don't do that. Ain't nobody think that cute.
Make sure you guys watch that video of the recording from last night.
I can send it to you guys if you can't see it, because I actually listened to it while I was working today. It was really quiet at my office, like it always is on Fridays, and it was very helpful, and I'm super glad that you took the time to do that. And even more appreciative and thankful that you took the time to do this. I know it means a lot to all of us. Like, Ashley's over there freaking making quiche, and Amy's just trying to hold down her house. Jess is just trying to have some dry hair without her kids poking in on her.
Hey,
they're not lose her internet. Yeah, girl, I know.
Sorry, guys, I was the creeper in the dark.
I mean, at least you're consistent.
What's that?
She's consistent being a creeper in the dark.
All you can see, though, is her white teeth. That's
I know, and they're fantastic. Between that and her, but you guys, you know, her prized possession is her eyebrows.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's because I love you and because we had to stay in the same house.
Right now, I really don't want to pee my pants, though, so I'm going to let you go.
Thanks, Shannon. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Thanks for having me.